Broadcasting Network.
Hello, everybody. We're back. It's an episode of The Review, the Online Sports Guys College Football Podcast, where we talk about things related to the game of college football. We've been a little bit more sporadic than we are during the season, where we go every weekend. We're going to kind of try and do a once-a-month thing here until we get closer to the season, which is only a few months away, guys. With me, as always, OSG Nelson, Brother Marty. Well, guys, there's some interesting things to talk about here in the off season. Something that's come up this week, in fact, the college football playoff will change yet again, despite after it's going to change going into this year, but it's going to change again going into 2026.
Wait, no, that never happened.
No. All the hullabaloo and raising hell that everybody did about the game moving to a 12-team playoff is great, but that's only going to last for maybe 2 seasons because it's in 2026. Sure the heck, looks like we're going to 14 teams.
I like how they didn't even take a chance to see how it looked before they added 2.
So we'll go ahead and add 2 more. That's cool. Go for it. Knock it out.
It makes me wonder if there was, I would be willing to bet that there was more money involved in it.
Wait, no, ...
Wait, at the base of this? What?
No.
I thought they just wanted to get the Pop-Tarts Bowl in.
I mean, come on, man.
And speaking of money in college football playoff, I found it interesting when you read in a little bit detail about what they're trying to do. One of the things that really jumps out is the payout to the teams that would be in really all the teams in college football, because it's a 1.3 or 1.6 billion that ESPN is going to pay every season for it. Sure. And you would think there would be an equitable payout to everybody.
Oh no.
Hey, we got this big, huge contract. Let's spread the wealth so everybody can have
dude, it's like every other tournament. It's like playing the PGA Tour. What's left of the PGA Tour? You finish 16th, you're not finishing the same as you did if you won the tournament. You win the tournament, you get 10% of the purse. And no, I mean, that cannot be a surprise, Marty.
Welcome to the real world. If you don't bring anything to the table, you don't take anything from it.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely not a shock at all that you have a descending order of revenue for the finishers in said tournament.
Yeah, Kent and Akron don't deserve what Georgia should be taking home.
Well, speaking of that, the Big Ten and SEC have decided to claim $21 million per school in this payout format, and that includes everybody.
Sure.
That includes Vanderbilt, that includes Northwestern, that includes Nebraska. Teams that may not necessarily be on that same level.
There should be some sort of rule where Iowa's got to score more than 10 points. Iowa has to get to double digits or they get half the payout.
Put a codicil in there for offense for some schools. Yes, I agree. But I mean, you can't be surprised that, as we have referred to them as the 4-letter conference and the SLY conference, you have your ESPN conference and your Fox conference. Of course, you're going to have those particular entities dictating what you're going to have for a payout. It's going to be those 2 conferences, and then everybody else is going to sit there and try to figure it out themselves. But this is also the reason why, if you're Vanderbilt, you don't pack up and leave another and go to another conference. That's why, if you're Indiana or Northwestern, you don't pack up and leave and go to another conference, considering that Northwestern is spending, $11 gazillion on a new alleged football facility, and some waterfront stadium is going to be there in the interim that's going to seat like 12 people on Saturday afternoons. No, you've got all these projects, man. No, you're not going
to. You're saying that the 2 biggest conferences might have taken backdoor steps to stop people that are crappy in their conference to go be the best one in the lesser conference?
Wait, no. I'm shocked.
Well, let's go with a hypothetical here. Say you're Florida State, who has their own issues with the ACC and what they're getting out of that deal.
Yeah, we do have our own issues. Yes.
Welcome to the bid.
The ACC, by the way, guaranteed $13 million in this payout as opposed to the 21 that the SEC and Big Ten will get.
If you ain't bringing folks to the table, then and you ain't bringing folks to the last games in this particular tournament, that's not a surprise. Once again, descending order. You don't finish first or second, you ain't getting first or second money.
Say for a minute you're Florida State and you run the table, you get to the finals, you win the championship game, which is not something that's out unheard of or completely random.
In recent memory,
it could happen, but you still don't get the payout that anybody from the ACC, from the SEC or the Big Ten gets.
They're not going to run the table in either of those conferences, though.
No, that's the thing. You know, if you slid a contender from a non SEC / B1G over into those two conferences, say, then no, you're not going to finish first in either of those conferences. If you slide to the B1G, then you've got to face Marty's team in Columbus. You got to face the team to the north. You got to.
But the way it's set up, they don't have to. They just have to win their conference and run the table. And that gets them their automatic berth. That gives them a chance to win the playoff. Where if in a 12 or a 14 team playoff, it could happen.
Yeah, they're still going to get hosed on seeding.
Yeah, and the thing is that what the commissioners and Notre Dame agreed, they took their position of surety in the tournament over the revenue assurance. So basically they're like, all right, so here's what we're going to do. If you get us a seat at the table, we'll cede some of the power, the bulk of the control of the format over to the SEC and the Big Ten as part of a give and take, according to a source. So basically, it's like you got the
give and take or give and told.
Probably,
yeah, it's more like give and hold.
Yeah, it's like, tell you what, you surrender your rights, you get a seat at the table, you just won't get the revenue, but you're assured that you're going to be seated at the table, regardless of how good or how bad your particular teams are. I mean, look, ACC, Big Ten, SEC, Big 12, and the highest group of 5 champ. I mean, and I'm sure that the group of 5 champ basically said, yeah, sure, whatever. As long as we get a seat at the table, we'll cede control to, the SEC and the B1G. That's fine. But this is what happens when you have these two main conferences, everybody else, and then the Go 5. The Go 5 wants a seat at the table. They're going to say, yeah, whatever.
Where's the pack at?
The pack is non-existent at the moment. They're stuck with the Mountain West. The Tupac is stuck with the Mountain West, and so
they'll get some money, but they're going to get not getting a lot.
No, and they might end up being the top Go 5. Who knows? But it's literally, do you want to ride the coattails of the SEC and the Big Ten? Or do you want to try to figure out and stomp your feet and go on your own and not have a network chase after your contract and pay you something close to what's left on the table? You surrendered control for a seat at the table. That's basically what happened.
But how do you make the game equitable for everybody?
Those days are gone.
No,
bring in relegation. That's the only way this stuff's gonna.
Yeah. I mean, legitimately, that's what you're staring at here. No, equitable does not exist anymore. Equitable ended when you had the two major networks paying two major conferences north of $50 million a year in the previous television contract to make sure that all of those games ended up on those networks in whatever ways that the networks wanted them to air, whether it's on the individual network that is devoted to all the sports and all the individual programming, or on the mothership, or on the Deuce, or someplace like that. And with the other conference that Marty is associated with, it's like, all right, we're going to blow up the B1G. We're going to put it in prime time. We're going to put it in noon kick. We're going to have double headers. They're riding that particular conference as far as they possibly can. It's just how it is. I mean, literally, when you got the new contract and you get the SEC and the B1G are the ones making north of 50, and everybody else is trying to sit there and go, what? What can we get out of this deal? And the ACC is like, oh, you're going to get like low 30s from dude. It's a trickle down. It's
you'll take it and like it.
Yeah, pretty much. It's trickle down economics, and it just so happens to apply to the largest tournament that's associated now with the sport that had a certain number of teams, now has more than a certain number of teams, but the trickle down economics is still just going to be what it is. You have your two power conferences, everybody else, and then level number 3.
Yeah, and we all know trickle down economics don't work in business. They damn sure aren't going to work in college sports,
Well, you're not
which
gonna get equity if that's what you're staring at.
basically is going to become a kingdom of maybe 10 teams and then a whole bunch of other teams.
But I mean,
It's just rich people telling you it'll work for you and then
Well,
moving along.
well, and I
Stay
mean,
rich and you're going to get paid nothing.
yeah, until an NIL comes to the table and it goes to the individual athletes. But we know, and like I said, and this is a point that we made during the CFP this past season. Having worked in the television industry as long as we have, that what you are doing is you are programming a television series. That is what this is. You are programming a mini series. The CFP had a 3-episode miniseries where they were trying to fill basically 12 hours of programming. What do you do to make sure that you get as many eyes as humanly possible on your miniseries? You make it as desirable a program, not football games, but as desirable a miniseries as possible. That meant that you brought in Alabama over Florida State. Look, as the Florida State alum on this show, I get it. I understood it from the absolute beginning. You are programming a television series. It just so happens that this go round is going to have 1.6 gazillion reasons to figure out who's going to get paid what. How do you make an attractive television series? You put all the blue bloods in there. You put Notre Dame in there. You put them. You put them at a seat at the table. Do whatever. The SEC is going to have their seats. The B1G is going to have their seats. You're getting all these blue bloods. You have all the storylines. As much as we love the romanticism of a Go 5 team making a run, as much as we enjoy a Long Beach State under a fired head basketball coach in Dan Munson making it to the tournament, that ain't driving viewership. What's driving viewership are the blue bloods and the big names, and that's SEC. It's hate watching. It's all of the above, Marty. That's just how this is. You're programming a television series with a lot of money on the line. Blue bloods make that go.
If you don't think it's a TV show, how many of you guys knew what happened at halftime and after the Pop-Tart Bowl? All of us, right? Who played in it? I'm not sure.
Yeah. See, I mean,
they programmed a couple viral moments and those blew up. I mean, shoot, we're thinking about making that a road trip next year just to go and see what craziness they do, regardless of who's playing.
Let me ask you guys this.
Sure.
Under that scenario, if I'm any one of the 100 or so schools who have realistically no chance of ever getting paid or being in the playoff, why bother even having a team?
You don't think they're still making money?
No. Ask somebody from Louisiana Monroe if they make money during their season.
What? Hey, I went to Youngstown State. We got by on barely anything.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and by the way, it's NC State and Kansas State. That was our Pop-Tarts Bowl this past year.
There we go.
But when you have something like this, there is talk, and I would hope that it would be orchestrated within the current bowl structure as we see it, that the Go 5 would have their own tournament, do whatever. Fine, that's great.
I mean, also extra money.
Yeah. I mean, if you have somebody, look, if you had somebody come to the table and go to the Go 5, all the Go 5s, the group of 5 schools, as we call them, the Go 5s. If you go to the Go 5s and say, hey, look, hey, American, hey, Conference USA, hey, Fun Belt, hey, Mountain West / Tupac, if we, through the organization of the current bowl structure, had your own tournament where you could have your own title belt and do whatever, in addition to the TV contracts that you're currently getting, don't tell me for a second that the 4-letter wouldn't wander over there, sit there and go, hey, if we had a tournament play-in and determined a group of 5 champion that integrated the bowl games in Vegas and New Mexico and the blue turf in Boise, if there wasn't money on the line, even if it's additional money than what you're getting to your current TV deals, don't tell me for a second that the group of fives wouldn't jump on something like that.
Marty, can we name him commissioner? The czar of college football now for that.
Go for it.
For accountability.
Until he got a new job, I wanted Chip Kelly to take that job. Maybe throw in Saban now that he's got free time.
Well, Saban gets dragged to DC to talk about name, image, and likeness now, and talks about how much he doesn't like it.
Oh, and it made him sit. They made that poor bastard sit next to Ted Cruz too.
Oof.
Yeah, that was not good.
But I mean, you think about it with bowl games, the way that it's set up previously, probably to this year, most of those bowl games weren't that profitable to schools.
No, but they were profitable to ESPN events.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
like
they're television shows.
If you went to more than one bowl game, they basically do cookie cutter. They buy a bunch of footballs and then they don't even print on them. They just put stickers on them.
Mm-hmm.
X bowl game, Y bowl game, Z bowl.
Yeah, but
game.
if you're the school, it's not a money-making product for them.
No.
You get X amount of money payout from the bowl game, but when you factor in the expenses and the cost of getting everybody there and the time spent there before the game, it's basically a break even, and in some cases it's a money loser.
Well, for the athletic program, yes. For the university in and of itself, it is a recruiting tool. That's why you see the PSAs that we see within the embed of the bowl game. You see those promotional announcements for the schools. It is an attempt by those schools that
while they do that during the regular season too.
Yeah, but once
but there's one other thing you got to factor in is like if you ever go to any of these lesser bowl games for schools you're not too familiar with, there is always a big alumni events, and then there is a bunch of money. They get them drunk, they get them to donate. It's a fundraising event on top of being a road trip for the team.
If you can get them there,
get them there. But the people that can go there do usually have a little bit of cash to spend, and that's where they get hit up.
So some of those games, the attendance is under 1,000 for the entire game.
And I take great joy in attending some of those.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, like we talk about here. It is a promotional tool for the university. It is a promotional tool for the athletic program. It is a moneymaker for ESPN events because, I mean,
it's a commercial time slot that they wouldn't normally be able to afford.
Correct.
Right, and they draw good numbers for people who are home during the holidays with nothing to do those last 2 weeks leading up to Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah, because you look at the rest of their advertising, they do a little bit locally, maybe a bit regionally. They get free spots on ESPN Plus, but they're already preaching to the choir there. You get something that's national. That's a nice boost in getting their brand out there.
I mean, to give you an idea of the bowl games, of the small of the tier 2 bowl games that we talk about and that we love. How many folks, just as an example, how many folks watched the New Mexico Bowl on the mothership between Fresno State and New Mexico State at 5:45 in the afternoon on a Saturday? Just go ahead and give me a guess.
Besides the 3 sickos on this podcast?
Yeah, beside the 3 sickos that are talking about.
I want to say it was somewhere in the 500,000 range.
845,000 viewers watching Fresno State and New Mexico State. The bowl game after that was the Independence Bowl, which was 2 teams who were floundering around 500, Texas Tech and Cal. 1.02 million viewers. In the afternoon leading up to the New Mexico Bowl, the New Orleans Bowl, the Arnell Carriers Bowl that is there that has Fun Belt interest and Conference USA interest. The New Orleans Bowl between Jacksonville State and Louisiana, 1.09 million viewers. The Myrtle Beach Bowl, for effing sakes. And this is courtesy of our friends at Sports Media Watch, by the way. I don't take credit for all this. The Myrtle Beach Bowl, which was 11 o'clock in the morning on the 4-letter between Ohio U and Georgia Southern, Phil. You were not in Myrtle Beach.
No, but I did watch it on TV.
You and 1.199 million other people, 1.2 million people watched a bowl game at 11 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. That's what you're staring at. The Celebration Bowl had 1.5 million. The Cure Bowl at 3:30 in the afternoon on ABC had 1.95 million viewers.
Pop-Tarts Bowl.
Yes.
I will check.
Now, they might not have got the views, but they owned social media completely.
Your point about the viewership is made. And guys, I think I want to throw it to break here, but when we come back in the second half of the show, I want to expound a little bit further on the bowl games and where they go from here, because the playoff is going to turn the bowl system upside down here, just for the simple fact that you're not going to have as many teams available to even play in those games. That and more when we come back for the second half of the review. You're listening to the review on the OSG Sports Podcasting Network.
4.31 million viewers for Pop-Tarts.
Please like and subscribe, or we'll smack you with the shillelagh. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Over here in the OSG Sports side of things, we talk football. FOOTBALL. College football version here with the college football review every single week. But for those of you that like not just football with two O's, but football with a U, FUTBOL, there's the Soccer Down Here Network. I'm John Nelson. I host the morning show on Soccer Down Here along with Jarrett Smith, Nick Alifi, Jason Longshore. And if you're looking for the best information when it comes to the world of soccer, based in the southeastern United States, but we don't leave anything off the table. 9:05 Eastern time until 11 whenever. Sometimes we go for a while. SDH Network morning show, soccer's morning show, Monday through Friday, plus all the live events we do. It is your place and your source for soccer that is based in the Southeast, but covers everything on the world. SoccerDownHere.net, the Soccer Down Here app, available iOS and Android through our friends at Spreaker. That's like speaker with an R in the middle. Spreaker, do a search for OSG Sports. Do a search for Soccer Down Here. All the soccer content all in one place. It is the SDH Network and Soccer Down Here.
Thanks for sticking around, everybody. You have made it to the second half of the show. In the first half, we talked at length about the college football playoff, its implications, its payout, why it's good, why it's bad. And what we want to kind of get into here a little bit more in the second half is bowl games.
Sure.
Because, guys, over the years, the bowl system has expanded so much that we're, like 41 games this past year?
Yeah, something like that. You're north, but hey, if sponsors want to put their name out there, I mean, dude, remember when you had the suburb of Chicago, Illinois, that sponsored a bowl game? You're trying to draw interest to yourself. You do it with the Bahamas Bowl or you do it with wherever, but no, you want to try attract attention to yourself, you're going to find a place to do it, and that's college bowls.
And we're at a point now where if we're talking about a playoff series with 12 to 14 teams in it here to play for the national championship, where does that leave the bowl system? Because you're talking about some of these major bowl games that won't really have the teams to draw from that they have in the past. And when you're talking about the lower level games, you're pretty much talking about anybody that has a pulse or has a football program getting a bowl bid.
I don't see as much of a difference. I think it's going to boost attendance you got like the Cotton Bowl. When it's not a playoff game, it depends who they get. It's still going to get watched because, it's the Cotton Bowl. Mm-hmm. But, this past year, so.
Yeah.
When it was a playoff game, like a year or two before that, boom. So now it's going to be a playoff game every single year. But Cotton, Rose.
Right. Yeah.
But those ones are going to get more attendance. They're still going to get eyes no matter what, because they're, the bigger bowl games.
But you're basically talking about your college football playoff bowl games, which are, I think it's what, the Peach Bowl, the Rose Bowl, the Orange
Cotton,
Bowl,
sugar.
Bowl,
Sugar, cotton, peach, rose. Yeah.
those games
Fiesta.
Yeah.
don't get the second round playoff games, or at least rotate them. But you're talking about picking from basically you're talking about picking team 15 and down as opposed to picking team 5 and down.
And I think that that's what will behoove the bowl committees for the non-rotation to make sure, as Marty says, that you make your matchup geographically desirable, so or rivalry desirable, or if you come up with some kind of a twist that if you don't have a conference tie-in, make
Those
sure.
are pretty much gone.
Yeah, so you're going to sit there. You're short of the tier 2 bowls that we talk about that still get viewership on television. You may not get attendance. I mean, good Lord, the Motor
I
City.
haven't had attendance in years.
No, but that's the thing. It does it if you want to continue to have these television programs as television programs, you're not going to care about attendance. They sure as hell didn't care about attendance at the Motor City, and you still had over 1 million people watch it on television. So
You didn't see any crowd shots, but you watched football.
correct. You went in there and we talked about it on the show. The get in price for a lot of the bowl games that were tier 2s were, if you wanted to make a road trip out of it, you could get in the door for $18, And there's
Ding.
yes. Ding. And so it's going to be, it's not necessarily, I don't think, the tier 2s, the non-playoff bowls. Let's just phrase it that way. The non-playoff bowls, you're going to try to come up with a matchup that's desirable. You're going to try to, if you get folks in the door, great. You know that you probably won't have to be in a building that will have an upper deck available to you. As long as you're selling 10 to 15,000 tickets or 20,000 tickets, you make your bottom line, you pay for half the building. You're going to be fine when it comes to the game and hosting the game in and of itself. I don't think that's going to change a whole lot. I don't think the TV shows are going to change a whole lot. Just the matchups and the alignments, maybe for the group of 5 bowls and the tier 2s, that might get tweaked a little bit. But other than that, I don't see a whole lot changing. I just still think that this is going to be, it's going to be television programming. And if you want to go great. But we're going to make our bottom line, and ESPN Events is still going to have all these 4-hour blocks of programming that they're not going to worry about.
There's no doubt in my mind that, like Thanos, this is inevitable. They're going to end up making another division. It's just going to happen. And then they're going to use that to make those lower bowls more profitable.
Yeah.
It's going to get more viewership if it's a playoff of some sort.
They have to, because there's not enough teams that can compete on the same level, recruiting wise, financial wise, and the system's not set up for that to ever change.
And if you want to keep those people, being part of your system that you're making money on the back of, you got to sweeten the pot a little bit, because, okay, we're not going to beat Georgia. We're not going to beat Bama. Well, maybe Bama, because who knows what's going to happen now. But, I've got no chance up there, but I got a chance here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To quote Austin Powers, from your bone.
Mm-hmm. Basically. It's just, I don't anticipate. I think the structure and the goals may change. I don't quite necessarily see the format changing. We're still going to have our bowl games. We're still going to have all these programs. I just think that the matchups and the reason for the matchups is what's going to end up changing here. I don't anticipate a whole lot changing in the overall, but the reason that those TV programs exist was what changes in the long term.
Yeah, but feeding off of what Marty said, I mean, that's something that I see as the only way to keep the game even plausible for most people, is to break that off a little bit. There's just
give them a reason to be.
Yeah. I mean, for me, a Georgia Southern graduate, my team has zero chance. I shouldn't say zero chance, but we have roughly the same chances we have of winning the Mega Millions this week, of getting into the playoff.
That reminds me what I got to do this afternoon.
Right there with.
And it doesn't matter how well we recruit, how well we do in the transfer portal, what coach we have. It doesn't matter. We're never going to be able to compete on that level. We don't have the money.
No,
we're never going to get the money.
But what will end up happening is that in whatever you consider your level, in quotation marks, to be, there will be an outlet for that and for teams of quote unquote your level. That once again, it's about making this TV program desirable and a desirable end to a season. There will be a means to this end. What it shapes out to be is going to be the question.
And who's going to be the one to step up and actually say, okay, we got to parcel this out because the game's just getting too lopsided?
Well, they're not going to do it because they're nice. They're going to do it because it's a money-making opportunity.
Oh,
Correct.
yeah.
Correct.
The next time somebody does something for quote unquote the best interest of the game will be the first time that anybody in college football
Well,
does.
I was going to say
the only reason that the whole first round is going to be on sites is because it's too early to get a bowl game tied in.
Yeah.
You know, that's very good for the schools that are going to host. Because, like, you know, you look at 1AA. I'm not going to use the stupid version. They're going to change it again. So why bother adopting it? But
go old
all
school.
of those are on campuses, and all of those are well attended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to the Division II championship. That thing was packed. You know.
Yeah. The way it's set up right now for the playoff, the top 4 seeds or whomever, they're getting punished because they don't get a game on campus.
Well, but they're also going to be allegedly making the most money.
Yeah, they're making it on the back end.
Yeah,
you don't have to pay out any money for these games, but you're going to get a bunch at the end.
Yeah, you know that's the financial adjustment that is made for those top 4 teams that you anticipate making it to the end, where they're getting that larger payout. 5 through 12 and 5 through 14 are going to get that initial bump from the home game that you're not going to be getting. And the anticipated loss in a future round is where the 1 through 4s will make up that money with the additional millions of dollars that they're going to be parceled out in the percentages.
Yeah, the school's not losing any money. The local businesses that would make
I was about to say,
during that week.
That's what I was going to say. Think about if you're like the city of Athens and Georgia's seeded number 2 in the field in the playoff, and they don't get a home game.
Yeah, I mean,
Georgia still gets paid. City of Athens, boop, it's nothing.
You know, Penn State, both hotel rooms that are open. You know, they're going to lose money.
Yeah, you're also assuming they make it to the. You're also assuming they become a top seed in anything.
No, I'm joking. They're not going to be one of the top seeds. They're going to be one of those ones that's playing a home game or on the road somewhere. But they also have like 2 hotels in that damn town.
Yeah, they'll be 5 through 14, and you're staying in Harrisburg. That's the bottom line.
My wife just said, geez, Statesboro has more hotels.
I think Youngstown State has more available hotel rooms to go see a game than State College does.
Absolutely. Yes.
That's a whole separate conversation. And it's amazing it doesn't, considering the amount of money that the football program brings into that town every year, even if it's just for 6 or 7 dates a year.
Yeah. The way that it lays out is that the SEC is getting 21.
Mm-hmm.
The ACC schools are going to get more than 13. Big 12 schools are getting 12. Notre Dame is expected to get more than 12, and that's why Notre Dame didn't join the ACC, because they get their own pot. No, they don't have everybody.
I hope they get the crap kicked out of them again this year.
Yeah, and then
join a conference.
Yeah, then there's the alleged financial incentive for any Go5 or any other independent that makes the CFP. So there's
the one thing I do like, though, is with the seeding, Notre Dame is going to get no matter how high they are, they're going to be below a conference.
Yeah,
that's
deservedly so. Not that they're going to finish that way, because they always crap their pants after the midway point.
Mm-hmm.
What John said is what kind of pisses me off. It's like if a group of 5 gets a first round bye into the playoff, they should get more than that 1.9 million that the teams in their conference are designated to get.
But it's a 20% increase from 1.5. ...
Yeah. Notre Dame should get less. They haven't done anything since they replaced their leather helmets.
Yeah, Mike Oresco didn't sign the contract, the commissioner of the ACC. He didn't sign it, but he didn't like the deal. Didn't sign the deal.
Good reason.
But he didn't get anybody else to be there and help back him up on it. So that's why this one passed. According to Tupac sources, Wazoo and Oregon State are slated to earn $360,000 as independents in the new contract, but I don't think they're going to be making it that deep. 1/5 of what a Go Five would make in the arrangement. Traditionally, it would be $6 to $7 million with what the Pac-12 used to make. But now that they're the Tupac and paired with the Mountain West, they dropped to that Go Five level where it's $360,000 as an alleged independent in the new system.
Yeah, them Notre Dame and what UMass or not UMass, UConn.
Well, yeah, UMass I think is heading back to the MAC.
What do those two teams have in common? Neither one of them's gonna be anywhere near that playoff.
Yeah, correct. So I mean,
They'll be watching on TV with us.
Yes, they'll be in their early round bowl game, and then they'll be watching and having Christmas dinner. They'll have the Christmas turkey with family and friends.
Watching Rudy, thinking of the good old days.
Mm-hmm.
He was offsides, by the way.
Yeah.
Just picture our friend Jim Morrow Jr. sitting there by the fireplace.
Uh-huh. With his smoking jacket and a brandy and a cigar with the fireplace going.
But I want my team to be in the playoff.
He's just like this. He's got the golden retriever on the large blanket right in front of the fireplace. He's in his smoking jacket with his slippers going like this. I've already finished my season. Look at me. I've got a brandy right here. I want to watch everybody else.
Nice. No, we got one or two. We got one coaching position open.
Yeah.
Big.
Uh-oh.
Michigan pulls off a theft of the running back coach, Tony Alford.
I love how you phrase it. Yeah.
Well, they didn't cheat. They just paid him more money.
Yeah.
And they gave him one more year on the contract.
Of course.
And nobody can blame the guy. If someone gives you a better title and more money, what do you do?
No, they might be looking for a second coach because new defensive line coach Greg Scruggs was arrested while driving under the influence last night.
An OWO. Yeah.
Michigan, stay classy.
Did you see where the governor of Nebraska is mad now at his university?
Wait, yeah. I want to know. Wait, do you think Michigan spiked that guy's drink so that they could get the money to afford to give the running back coach a raise?
Well, they're not hurting for money.
We have to figure out
a lot. They have issues, but they're not hurting for money.
So the
I didn't know Trev Alberts left to go to Texas A&M. Where have I been?
Well, this kind of was somewhat clandestine. It wasn't something that made the headlines. So the governor of the state of Nebraska said that former Nebraska AD Trev Alberts' decision to go to A&M was disappointing, and he implored the university's board of regents to act quickly to fill the vacant leadership position. So Pillen is the former regent who played at Nebraska from 76 to 78. So I imagine he saw a lot of the wishbone. He wanted an urgent call for action. So he said he's disappointed in Trev Alberts' decision to leave. 4 months ago, Albert signed an extension to stay AD in Lincoln until 2031, annual base salary 1.7, and a clause in his new contract promised adjustments as necessary. Terms of the contract for A&M not disclosed, but apparently it was a 5-year deal. Apparently, from what I understand, Trev was told that they were going to be making some investments and some capital improvements and trying to update facilities and things like that. That's what he was told when he signed the new deal.
And then it all went kerplooey when the school's president left, and they almost a year later haven't replaced him.
Correct. And so it appears that the writing for Trev was on the wall. And he's like, yeah, maybe I need to kind of jet. And so when oil money out of College Station and Bryan, Texas comes knocking on your door, once again, somebody comes at you with a larger paycheck. Hey, bro, you want a 5-year deal? We'll pay you a boatload of money to come into the SEC. What are you going to sit there and say? No, I'm going to hang at my alma mater that's having issues with capital improvements that they promised allegedly. So now the governor of Nebraska is kind of hot that you lose your AD at 4 months after you signed him to a 7-year contract extension.
Also proof that contracts mean nothing in college football.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you could sit there and look at, and in this case, if this is in fact the reason why, where Trev Alberts was promised, capital improvements, and we're going to improve things here, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to build, we're going to expand, we're going to make things shinier, and nothing happens. You could sit there and say, look, this is breach. you breached my deal. You said you were going to be doing things, and you haven't. So, once again, in a situation like this, if the folks in Lincoln want to go, Trev Alberts, we're mad at you. There will be billable hours, and the ones that will truly win the situation will be the lawyer and types.
Not to mention, anybody will take an A&M job because you will make more when they tell you to leave than you made while you were actually putting in work.
Yes, and it's inevitable that you will eventually be leaving.
And you'll make more after you go than when you were there.
Because nobody could live up to the expectations there.
You'd be nuts not to take that kind of money.
And guarantee and make sure that you sign a guaranteed contract to where all of the money that you are part and parcel to in your contract is there and will not leave. That was a smart play by the agriculture and mechanical folks. Yeah, we're going to guarantee your full deal. Jimmy Sexton, another winner in that situation.
Yes, Jimbo Fisher's probably going to be paid long before we are retired and done with this podcast. He'll still be making millions from that contract.
I mean, yeah, I think they had to make an immediate balloon payment, and then the rest is due in X number of years behind. So actually, you know what? He'll be rich, but we'll still be doing the show.
Now, don't forget about Arkansas also recently employed a motorcycle enthusiast.
That's true.
Yeah, you mean the former head coach who's now the offensive coordinator?
Mm-hmm. And is waiting for the world to fall down so he can once again assume the throne there.
Ascend.
Yes. Yeah, which may very well happen because, as we all know, the seat for the current head coach at Arkansas, Sam Pittman, is a bit on the toasty side.
I mean, the biggest thing that Sam needs to do is just pick himself up a cold beer and pour it on that seat, because he has not been given resources either to make sure that things can continue to either stay the way they are or improve his lot. And I mean that he's not going to be, one of the top 16 in the country, but you can make a statement and get to a higher end tier 2 bowl if you are, given resources and have that kind of devotion from a front office. So, I mean, it's disappointing to see what's up with Sam, and I know that he probably will not last this season when it comes to life in Arkansas and the SEC.
Ooh, and then what's Alabama going to do when Ohio State inevitably takes their running back coach?
Oh, wow. Look, Tuscaloosa is going to be a fun watch for those of us that are not emotionally attracted and attached to what's going on. It is going to be a fantastic science experiment. What happens when your number one head coach that has taken you to heights, until Bear Bryant, I mean, like 25 years in between heights, what happens now? That is going to be a fantastic science experiment this season.
I want to see, are they going to have viewership numbers for Schadenfreude watching of that program?
Oh, you're going to have hate watching, Schadenfreude watching.
Their numbers are going to be so big at Auburn and Georgia.
Oh, yeah. The rest of the SEC, you're going to have hate watching. You're going to have the hate watching metric and the actual fandom metric. It's going to be great. If they could break that down, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, it's going to be the people that are still watching at the end of the game when they're losing.
Yes.
Those numbers.
Hey, wait a second. The numbers got a spike in that final quarter hour of the game. I don't know why that happened.
In the Atlanta market, this is insane.
Yeah, and no disrespect to Kalen DeBoer, who's an excellent football coach, but you never want to be the guy replacing the guy anywhere.
No, you want to be.
Nobody's going to get paid like it.
Yeah, you want to be the guy replacing the guy that replaced the guy. That's what you want. You want to be the guy after Kalen DeBoer. And look, we've covered Kalen since his time at USF. The University of Sioux Falls, not South Florida.
Is it John?
we've covered Kalen since his time at Sioux Falls, and where he was a dominant head coach, winning titles in the NAIA at USF. And I mean, look, fantastic football coach. That is not in dispute. But I don't know how many coaches in the state of Alabama on the high school level are going to sit there and go, "Oh, you want me to open my door for you? I don't know you." It is going to be an interesting. We talk about the interesting case study in hate watching. It is going to be an interesting case study in how he hits the campaign trail and the Cruton trail in the state of Alabama. And then you have to expand from there into the increased national brand that is Tuscaloosa. How this is handled is going to be a great watch.
Do not
Guys, I
envy that
think
poor
it's
man.
time to. I think it's time to wrap up the show. We have talked for better part of an hour.
Yeah.
It's a good jumping off point here. That is one of the multiple storylines in the off season here. We're going to try and pop up again here in what is it? It's March now. Hopefully in April, we'll
Yeah.
talk a little bit more college football.
Unless news breaks and we have to fix it.
Yes. Yes, indeed. So just kind of stay tuned to our social media platforms. YouTube seems to be where a lot of you are catching us. Facebook, Twitter X for those of you into masochism.
Spreaker.
Yeah. And our apps and
Yes. So for Brother Marty, for Brother John, I am Brother Phil. We are part of the OSG Sports team, the college football end of things. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you. Have a great rest of the month of March, and we will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.
Please like and subscribe.